Hi, Sam Tolbert, Sound of Joy Music Services, and this is our first tutorial for the selection I Surrender All in the key of D flat. In this tutorial, we're going to take our time and we're going to break down not just the melody and the scales that's used in this song, but the multitude of chords that can be used to approach different styles to accompany this type of selection. Let's get started. As you are aware of, in all of my lessons, I always try to start off with the scales in any particular key that we're in. And the number one reason for that has always been every chord and every thought of a chord is found within the generic scales, which I call the actual major scale of the song. Now, of course, because it is a gospel type song, which or hymn in a sense, but can gospelize it. That means the harmonic minor scale can also be included. Why? Because it's still one of the scales. Now there are many jazz scales, many classical scales. It's dependent upon what style of music you wanted to approach to it. But we're going to use the ones that I covered in some of the videos that I have done here on YouTube for this song. So we did our scale. Again, I believe in using both hands and going more than one octave. And you will see that as I do this tutorial. Going around it, because just the movement of just practicing both hands not only limbers them up, but it sort of prepares your ear for what it wants to hear. You know that's going to be here. You know that tone is going to be here. You know that tone is there. You know that tone is there. Just an idea that I always tried when I was investigating different tones I could put in the music. What can I possibly pick up with my ear? I want to make sure I've got a good microphone reading here. All right, so now that we know that we've warmed up and we've done our scales, the next is chords. Why chords? And I call them block chords. You need to hear what structure can be supporting this melody. So, of course, you've got your basic triad chords. Now, what concept do I use with this? I have to be able to hear chords before I play them. I need to know that this chord is here, that this one is here, that this one is here. Could be that chord, could be that chord, could be that chord because it's an F, could be that chord, could be that chord, could be that chord. Following the melody though, each melody note has its own section of chords assigned to it. If we're in D flat, we're using the chords that are in D flat. But the minute we go to E flat, now I've got open to me the chords in E flat, chords that are in A flat. Some chords that are also used in B flat that uses the same. Because I've practiced every chord that I could possibly find in a book, and I have a workbook that actually shows the majority of those chords that I practice, I can pick and choose what chord I want to assign if a melody note falls on that key. So I'll practice, and I'll always stretch it out. There it is. Almost forgot how I actually do it. I'll walk the melody, I'll walk the scale in chord just to hear what I can find. If I go minor, glad to hear it. It hadn't been a while since I walked the minor scale in chords. But that lets my ears know that those are if I was going to change into one of those chord changes for any kind of reason, those are the generic ones that are available to me. So now let's get to the melody of I Surrender All. Starts with the third note of the scale. And I use both hands for a reason, to get them in sync. Same thing for the next verse. Now that in itself gives me so many chords that I could jump to. First generic. Gonna throw a minor in there. Another minor, major, a seventh, and finish it off. Perfectly okay to use. Now, is it hymn book? No. It is, in a sense, gospel. Why? Because I'm throwing in chords that are not traditionally written from a hymnal. Still, it brings out a different color tones in the song. And as you can see, these are the chords that I practice. Songs that I practice, just getting that together. So now if I want to go a different approach, I can go here. Chain. Little transition. Another change. There it is. Now those changes, I was thinking of them while I was playing them, and when I didn't hear what I was thinking, I had to go back and go, okay, what did I want to do? If I had to redo that again, I'd have to play back the video. But let's see if I can remember what I just did. Now, I did this chord wrong the first time. That's the chord I meant to do. There it is. There it is. No, I may have did a drop down the first time because I did not play the chord I wanted to, but I all of a sudden substituted for, once I got lost chord-wise, I said, okay, I'm here. How can I get out of here? I began to add a movement, which is why why I have you practice doing this. So you can go, it's the concept of you're never lost when you have enough chords. Yes, you may get off on the beaten path, but then once you hear where you are, basically you take a stop musically and you go, okay, where am I? I'm lost. What chords are around me that look familiar to where I want to go? And usually the melody is your path. Now, in jazz, musicians circle around different numbers, the number system. They circle around the 1, the 4, the 5. They may go to the 6 sometimes, but they'll circle around the 1, 4, 5. I go outside of the number system. I want to find not just what's going to get me to the next note, but what can I enjoy on that path. Here's your 1, your 2, your 3. I'll go outside. Here's your 5. I'll go outside again. 7, right? To the 3, to the 6. Now I'll drop down. To go to the 4. 6, 2, 5, still in the 5, but you see I throw a different chord in the 5, which is why I talk to the number system, but I'm not an advocate for it. It'll get you into a song and out of it, but if you really want to begin to tear a song apart, you've got to think of outside the numbers and think about notes, chord phrasing, and different ways to approach the melody. So I gave you that approach. Let's give you another approach to it. Same notes, little movement, little run, the drop 2, and we're going to go now a different chord, a leading chord to take us to the 6 or to the minor, a gospel change, outside of again, walk up, little walk down, the little jazz nuances that I've picked up over the years. If I've heard it used in another song and I can use that to walk myself up or down, these are the things from a musician standpoint you listen to as much music as you can before you start practicing it, and you hear those little nuances that might help build your chord palette. I often say I have so many chords, I have to leave chords out just so I'll know which ones I want to use versus the ones I choose to use. But let me continue. Let's see, we did that way. Let's go this way. So now I stayed in the middle of the song. Let me slow that down. Like a classical feel, because everything is so close. Go outside. Did it. That's not the chord I wanted. All these chords are residing all around the melody. As you can see, I'm borrowing from every key. Wherever I fall, it's like, okay, what's here? What's here? Can I pick from this? Can I pick from that? I'm going to the D, go to the A flat, back to the D, to an F, to get to my minor. Now, A minor, A flat minus, A flat minor 9. That's what the chord app is telling me. Now I can go back to that E flat 7. Totally outside the melody, but if someone was singing the song, those chord changes would sound very pretty around the melody. Again, this is a tutorial, so I'm going everything that I would throw into a song that's happening in my head. Again, I can be singing the melody in my head. I said, it's very important to have both of your hands in sync. Let me see. We're still doing with the first, and we're still doing chords with the first two lines of melody. I'm trying to think, is there one more I can give you? Oh, higher. Kind of adding that actual stride feel. I had to hear the bass, so I was going to go with the bass to see what chord I was going to use. But see, because we have so many keys and so many different variations that we can include, you can make this song anything you want it to be. Let's go beyond that. Same chord, the I Surrender. Now, here's where melody-wise and chord-wise, how do you want to get there? So you come out of now you can build up to it. I'm just throwing in those chords because these are the chords I have heard in so much other music. This is like a pretense. We're gonna wind up in I. Surrender, my jazz chord, all. Now here I can go classical. Because I know this song has what I call spaces in between the words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 before I get to the next melody note. An eternity for a musician who has a myriad of chords. I surrender all. I surrender. And this is the change I like to use. And you'll find this chord used in some jazz songs. I won't say a lot, but I throw it in there because I just like that change, that sound that it gives you. I'll go back to it again. I surrender all. That's the melody, but because I told you, whatever note is in the melody scale, you have a free license to go after the chords that would be found or used in that scale. In this case, would be in a B flat. Could be F, right? But in B flat, you can use the same chords because the actual color of it brings out the chord changes because you're going to resolve. Diminished. Diminished. Here's that minor I surrender all. How do I know what chords I want to use? Most of the times when I'm playing, I don't. Now you say, well, is that when you're in that stage of, well, I feel chords, I hear them in my head while I'm playing, and I will see different changes that I could possibly interject in it. And before I play it, I would have heard it played. I would have known what the fingering was. If I miss the timing of the chord and fall to the incorrect one, I will automatically adjust to the other chord that I did not pick. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Now it doesn't have to be this. 1, 2, 3. If I want to go to that minor. And you can see I went through the scale. Again. Right? Melody at the top. Usually when the melody is at the top, that guides me to the chord that I hear in my head. And resolve. Another minor. Because I've started a minor, I can resolve out of back into a minor. Now I can go here. Right? That chord again, just used in a different sense. Resolve out of it. And I can end on a 6, which is a jazz chord. Your Disney sound. So many paths. So generally when I'm playing, I'm thinking, first of all, in one context am I playing? Am I doing it here in my studio? Am I doing it for a soloist? Am I doing it as an instrumental? Am I doing it for a congregation? Half these chords, congregation-wise, you would never hear. In this format, I'm showing you every potential chord that comes to my head at that moment. If it were a soloist singing, they may get a third of these chords because I would be supporting where they are going melody-wise. There it is. Now I change. Could walk up. Could go straight. Or, yeah. Just drop down. Let me see. If I'm gonna throw that note there, I gotta change the note here. I gotta change this note. They gave it the correct chord. And so again, if the left hand is doing this, my right hand knows follow it. Or, depending upon where I decide to go, there it is. Again, another off chord, but because it's in the family, I'm going to cover that again. might say, well, where do I get that chord from? G flat scale. I'm borrowing from the G flat scale and throwing another chord on top of it. I'll let you see it. That's why I love to pause chords and let it fall out. But it's got to resolve. It can't stay there. It has to resolve. And then I surrender. And now we're back to this chord. Resolve. All to thee. Minor. And I hear those changes in my head. If I go in this chord, the gospel turn around, surrender. I heard the melody run. I had to go find the chords. I surrender. Go back to here. Jazz chords. Surrender. Back to that chord. You could do that. I like doing that sometimes. And resolve. All right, that ends our tutorial on I Surrender All. Thanks for watching. Sam Tolbert, Sound of Joy Music Services. Take care.